There is an unprecedented surge in coronavirus cases in Maharashtra. The Uddhav Thackeray government has decided to postpone both class 10th and class 12th board examinations in Maharashtra. The state education minister Varsha Gaikwad briefed journalists and said the present circumstances are not conducive for holding board examinations. The decision taken by the Maharashtra government comes at a time when there is a growing chorus almost across the nation to postpone the board examinations scheduled for May. Opposition too has been up in arms demanding the cancellation of board examination. Now, according to CBSE data, nearly 19 lakh students are scheduled to take board examinations for the class 10th and another 12 lakhs are expected to take the boards for class 12th. The government, in a bid to ensure least possibility of COVID spread during boards, has announced a number of standard operating procedures, including increasing the number of examination centers, fewer candidates per room, hand sanitizers at entrance being some of the measures.
एक बड़ी चिंता जो जाहिर हुई और बहुत सारे लोगों ने मुझे लिखकर ये पूछा कि आपसे सवाल ये ज़रूर पूछा जाए, जो बच्चे हैं, जो स्कूल्स हैं जहां पर अभी बोर्ड के एग्जाम्स भी होने हैं, 30 तारीख तक दिल्ली में स्कूल्स बंद हैं। बोर्ड के एग्जामिनेशंस को लेकर बहुत चिंता है बच्चों के मन में। इस बार जो स्ट्रेन भी देखने को मिल रहा है, ये भी देखने को मिल रहा है कि यंग अडल्ट्स, यंग बच्चे जो हैं उनको भी कोरोना इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है। उसको लेकर आपकी कितनी चिंता है और क्या स्थिति में बोर्ड एग्जामिनेशंस होने चाहिए?
ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन पूछा अंकित आपने। पहले तो आपको ये डेटा शेयर कर दूं, केंद्र सरकार ने जो वैक्सीन की लिमिट लगाई है, 45 साल से कम उम्र के लोगों को अभी वैक्सीन नहीं लगाई जाएगी। दिल्ली का पिछले 10 दिन का डेटा ये दिखाता है कि 45 साल से कम उम्र के लगभग 65% मरीज हैं, 65%। 45 साल से ऊपर 35% है केवल। तो अगर हम 45 साल से नीचे के लोगों को अगर हम वैक्सीनेशन नहीं कर रहे तो हम 65% मरीजों के तक तो पहुंच ही नहीं रहे हैं। तो कोरोना कैसे रुकेगा, कोरोना कैसे ख़त्म होगा? इससे भी तो चेन रुकेगी ना। दूसरा, अभी जो सीबीएसई के एग्ज़ाम होने वाले हैं, दिल्ली में 6 लाख बच्चे सीबीएसई के एग्ज़ाम में बैठेंगे, 1 लाख टीचर्स इसको मॉनिटर करेंगे, 7 लाख लोग एग्ज़ाम देने के लिए जाएंगे। ये एग्जामिनेशन सेंटर्स हॉटस्पॉट्स बन सकते हैं। हमने अभी केंद्र सरकार को लिखा है कि ये 45 साल की रिस्ट्रिक्शन हटा के कम से कम इन सारे बच्चों को इमरजेंसी बेसिस पे सबको वैक्सीनेशन दिया जाए, सबको वैक्सीनेट किया जाए, ताकि ये बच्चे जब एग्ज़ाम देने के लिए जाएं तो ये सुरक्षित रहें और बच्चों के ऊपर किसी तरह की आँच नहीं आनी चाहिए। अदरवाइज़ ये डर है कि कभी एग्जामिनेशन सेंटर्स जो हैं ये हॉटस्पॉट्स ना बच जाए।
कि अभी हमने 8वीं तक की जो कक्षाएं हैं उसके लिए निर्णय लिया है। 8वीं से ऊपर तक के जो स्कूल शिक्षा बोर्ड हरियाणा का है अथवा सीबीएसई है, वो अपने डिस्टेंसिंग रख के, दूरी रख करके बाकी सारे जितने भी उसमें प्रावधान हमने बताए हैं उनका सबका ध्यान रखते हुए मुझे लगता है कि परीक्षा लेने वाली बात अभी तो ऐसी लेवल पर नहीं आई है कि बिल्कुल परीक्षाएं न ली जाएं। डिस्टेंसिंग रखते हुए एक लिमिटेड टाइम पीरियड के लिए बच्चे आते हैं और वो आकर के परीक्षा दे पाएंगे। ऐसा अभी तक तो उस प्रकार की योजना हमने नहीं बनाई है कि परीक्षाएं भी न ली जाएं। परीक्षाएं ली जाएं, ऐसा एक विचार बना है।
There is considerable alarm among parents, students and teachers. They've approached the Central Board of Secondary Education saying class 10th and 12th board examinations should not be held. There is an unprecedented spike in COVID cases and Maharashtra has now taken a decision that board examinations for 10th and 12th will not be held this year. But what about the rest of the country? Several political leaders and parties, including Priyanka Gandhi Vadra of the Congress, they've written to the board saying and to the HRD minister saying board examinations should not be held. I have Dr. Ravi Malik, the CMD of Radix Hospital, joining me on the broadcast. And Dr. Malik, your view in view of this unprecedented spike, should board examinations be held or postponed or cancelled altogether this year?
Look, Rahulji, we are going through an absolutely, you have rightly said, extraordinary, unprecedented type of, catastrophic situation. So we need to examine 2-3 facts very important. Number one is that till today, there is no vaccine which is available for children who are less than 15 years or 18 years of age in India. So, and we are not likely to get any vaccine over coming 4 months. And even if today we vaccinate our children, for argument's sake, we have a vaccine and we immunize them today, they are not going to have any protection for coming 2 months. So one thing is vaccination protection is out. Second thing is right now the strain which is prevalent, it is affecting the younger population also. It has started affecting the younger population also. So this is also a very important point. Third point is that the schools can definitely become super spreaders because children, because they will be having peer group interaction also, and they will not be following that much of social distancing also, especially during exam days. So it is very important for us to understand these few things.
Okay.
So under the backdrop of all these things, we need to be very cautious. And above all, I must tell you, about a month back, we were having just 1,600 cases.
Yes.
I'm telling you the data of 9,021. So 9th March, we were getting only 16,000 cases per day. Today, we are getting 1,69,000 cases per day. That is 10 times increase. It is an explosive increase. The avalanche of patients are coming. So in coming 1 month, what is going to happen, we can predict that. So the way the cases are increasing, the way our children are right now vulnerable, and the way their school centers are likely to become super spreaders, I think the government should take the decision taking all these points into consideration.
Sir, give me a moment. We have a large number of students and parents who are joining us on the broadcast. As you can see on your television screen, a large number of students taking class 10th and class 12 board examination. They've joined in with their fears, with their apprehensions, and we will go to them one by one. I have Sumit Aggarwal, a class 10th student, join me on the broadcast. Also, Sumit Aggarwal, the parent. But Sumit, to you first. What are your apprehensions? What are your thoughts? Do you want to take the examination? Do you want them postponed? Or for class 10th, you want them to be cancelled completely and go by pre-board results?
Well, I kind of have a neutral stance on it, but I don't think so I want them postponed because, like, how much can you postpone them until it puts our 11th and 12th class education into jeopardy? Like you can't postpone it, for a lot of time, right?
Yes.
And online exams also, I'm not very convinced with the whole idea of online boards because people come from different environments. They might not even have the financial resources to take part in online exams, or even the environments at their homes. Online exams are kind of a prerequisite for cheating, to be very honest.
Okay. So what do you want? You want your pre-board results to be considered, or you want to go ahead and take the examination with all precautions?
I think I want to go ahead and take the examination with all precautions because right now there's not really a feeling of finality. Many people didn't even do very well in their pre-board. So I think at least one examination should be conducted to really assess this.
Okay. Stay with me, Sumit. I also have Anushka and Nandini joining me on the broadcast. Nandini, you want to go first. You heard Sumit. Sumit wants to go ahead and take the examination. What about you?
This is Nandini. I'm the mother, and my daughter is appearing for her 12th exam this year. And the last year has been, I think, the total roller coaster for everybody. And there should be some closure, I feel. And if you take, I think there was an option that you put up saying that they could take the pre-board exam results into consideration. Pre-boards are generally very tough, and the marking is also done very stringently. So if you take those results, they will not be at par with the board exam result. So I think there should be a bit of closure. A lot of restrictions, stringent supervision has to be taken. But I think parents should take the onus of schooling our children to take, the necessary precautions even when in school.
Okay.
To prevent the schools from becoming super spreader centers. So that should be there. We should take
Anushka,
on the onus and say, we are sending our kids to school. These are the do's and the don'ts. Follow them. And the teachers, I think, are doing a fantastic job. The schools are doing beautifully, maintaining a lot of, decorum during these times and have helped the kids so well. So I'm sure they will do it till the end. So I think the exams should be held. There has
You're
to
saying
be
exams should be
closure
held
for the students, for the parents, and for the teachers.
Anushka, you agree with your mother that examinations should be held, and especially for class 12 students, since you have, your college entry, whether in India or overseas, all at stake?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It should. This is a benchmark on which her, her future will be based on. So I think the exam should be held. What do you think?
I feel the exam should be held. Like I'm very lucky, and I'm very lucky to have had proper online classes, no connectivity issues, financial support from my parents, peers, and good faculty.
Yes.
So I was able to do my education well. But there are many people who weren't able to do all this. So for them it would be a problem. But personally, I feel it should be held.
You feel it should be held. So, okay, we've spoken to two students, one of class 10th and one of class 12th. Both feel it should be held. One parent who feels that examination should be held. Zubin Malhotra joins us on the broadcast, a career coach and counselor at Career Guidance India. Zubin Malhotra, your thoughts? Because in Maharashtra, they've postponed examinations, both class 10th and 12th. There is a huge surge. And there is an apprehension. You heard Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal say that schools could become hotspots. Your thoughts?
Super spreaders.
And super spreaders. So should exams be held or postponed, or for 10th cancelled altogether?
This is a really, really difficult issue. And the sad bit is we are discussing this yet again, given what's happening with the pandemic. There are several aspects to it. You see, if you postpone a board, a lot of coordination is required from the CBSE with various centers, with schools to make preparations, etc. There is a follow-on knock-on effect. For example, the class 10 students who are going to be sitting for their boards this year, they haven't started their class 11, they haven't entered them because they're mostly based on their clearing their class 10 boards. So their academic year is getting pushed back further and further. It goes without saying that the class 12 marks are super important, not just for admission at the undergraduate level, but even at the postgraduate level. These are things which are taken into effect. The worst thing for students that I can say is not having certainty.
Yes.
The board, of course, has time and again come out and said we've provided for adequate arrangements, we've increased the number of centers, we're ensuring distancing. But think about how students are going to appear and arrive at those centers. They will, in many cases, will have to use public transport. It's not just what happens at the center in terms of, sanitizing and masks and distancing, but going there, coming back, and it's not a one-time exam, right?
Yes.
These are students who are going to be sitting for at least 5 exams. So it's that much exposure for them, for their parents. I personally would say, yes, this board needs to very quickly take a call of postponing them, but do not leave it for 2 weeks later and then decide to postpone it. We barely have about 3 weeks for the exams to start.
Oh, absolutely. But, if you postpone it, how long do you postpone it for? And then what happens subsequently for college admissions, whether in our country or overseas? Stay with me,
absolutely.
sir.
So
Dr. Srinivasan. Dr. M. Srinivasan, President Management of CBSE School Association, also joins me on the broadcast. And Dr. Srinivasan, your thoughts, because there is a lot of uncertainty, apprehension. Maharashtra has decided to postpone it. Delhi is still considering, because Arvind Kejriwal, you heard the Chief Minister on India today, he told my colleague Ankit Tyagi that there is a fear that schools could become hotspots and super spreaders. What are your thoughts on this, sir?
I would like to agree with the two children. Actually we have got two aspects. One is each school can manage the maximum number possible because there will be no junior classes. And schools can very well manage this. Only point we need to educate children is to wear masks and keep the social distancing. Otherwise, everything can be looked after. I have one more point to be added. All the teachers should be vaccinated. That's an important point because teachers will be with the children for more than 2 hours. It may not be amongst the children that is spreading, but it should not spread from adult to the children.
Yes.
And we can have enough social distancing. We can have enough distance between the children in the classroom. So I don't think any big deal in conducting the exam when the board is ready, board is well organized. We cannot compare CBSE with state boards because CBSE is different in style of conducting examinations.
Okay.
They don't have the children coming to the same school. They go to different schools. Parents mostly drop them and pick them up. So I don't find big issues except being afraid of something called coronavirus.
Okay.
I think we should learn and we should teach the children to take the risk and take care of themselves and take the exam so that things go on well.
Sir, stay with me because students would constantly have questions, for you, for our health experts. Anjali Kumari, a class 10th student from Narayana School, joins me on the broadcast. Anjali, are you keen on taking examinations? Would you want them to be postponed, or would you want your pre-board results to be considered to put you in class 11th?
I definitely want to give the offline exams of board exams because there are students who haven't did well in their pre-board and have taken advantage of this extent of timing for giving their board exams. So of course I want to give that offline board.
You want to take the examination, you want to go to school, but aren't you scared?
Because I want to do better in my board than my pre-board.
Okay. Well, we've spoken to 3 students so far and all 3 want to take the examination, which is very interesting to hear. The parents also want their children to take the examination. I have a parent with me, Soumya Chandra, joining me on the broadcast. Soumya Chandra, as a parent, are you scared? Are you apprehensive? Would you rather have examinations postponed or would you rather have your child take it?
See, I don't want examination to be postponed because postpone का मतलब है कि सब चीज आगे everything will be postponed. Their 11th class will be postponed. Everything will be postponed. I want examination to happen on the same time. But for me, the kind of the cases are happening, I am little apprehensive to send him to to give the offline exams. I would like the pre-boards marks should be considered because 2 साल से बच्चा स्कूल नहीं गया है. He has not even seen the pace of the school. How will he just go and give the examination offline? You have to understand he is out of touch with his friends, with his teacher, everyone. But he just cannot just go and give the board examination. It will be very difficult on him.
True. Aditya, your thoughts on this?
I agree with my mother. The pre-board results should be considered.
Pre-board results should be considered because बच्चा मेहनत तो कर ही रहा है ना घर पे बैठ के. ना वो अपने फ्रेंड से मिल रहा है, ना अपने टीचर से मिल रहा है, कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है. वो एकदम से आप उसको 1.5 साल बाद आप जाकर आप एग्जाम दो. It's not possible. He is living in isolation, these days.
And
the scare of the coronavirus is still there. It's I think more than the last year.
And it's much worse than last year. You're absolutely right.
Much worse.
Pre-board के results से college admission कैसे होगा? Because many argue, Zubin Malhotra, that then colleges will have to take an entrance examination before they give admission to students. So will the university have to conduct an examination? Will colleges have to conduct an examination if class 12th boards are not held?
Certainly. I mean, if the boards are not held, the universities, I think, are less well equipped than a CBSE to conduct large-scale exams and as safely. So I don't think the solution for this is that we pass the buck from the CBSE or the other state boards onto the universities to do this. We don't have a mechanism in place where we have one all-India exam, say for non-engineering, non-medical fields, which would be used by private and government universities all through and for various disciplines. So I don't think that's feasible. I don't think that will happen as quickly. The solution may well be as what happened last year, where midway through the board exams, they had to be stopped and then a new schedule was created. The same perhaps may well happen now. And yes, I understand, your medical entrances, your engineering entrances, all those dates have been finalized, keeping in mind the board exam schedule, CBSE, ICSE, and the other state boards. Now, the moment you start tweaking any one of these, the entire domino collapses and you've got to start afresh.
Yes.
But given the number of cases that we have right now, given the environment that is there, at least this is a very, very important exam for students. I'm not so sure that we should be rushing to conduct this immediately.
Okay. okay, because the apprehension is that the cases will only become worse before it peaks, and then things start to get better. But before it peaks, we'll have time for board examination. So Aditya, your thoughts, Aditya Chandra, your thoughts on holding examination vis-a-vis not holding them at all, because what happens to, you know, whether you to take science, arts or commerce in your next class or college examination. Colleges, as Zubin was also telling us, not equipped to conduct entrance examination for students from across the country.
Yes, in my opinion, just for class 10, the pre-board result should be considered, because we gave the pre-boards in offline mode. The cases were not at a rise at 10, so we gave them in offline mode at that time. So for class 10, the pre-board should be considered. For class 12, I guess the board exam need to happen because, as Zubin sir said, that the colleges are not prepared for exams.
You're absolutely right there. So, yeah. Sumit Aggarwal is a parent. Asmi's father joins us on the broadcast. Asmi wants to take the examination and move to the next class. Sumit Aggarwal, as a parent, you agree?
Yes, definitely agree. And as I think rightly mentioned in the forum, that we really want to remove this uncertainty for now. Daily one message pops up on mobile and says that 10th class announcement, whether exams will be held or not. So I really want that uncertainty to be over. For the last 1 year, I think we have become responsible in following all the social guidelines to make sure that our children are safe. And I really believe that the government will take all the precautions and safeguards will be, I think, put in place so that our children can go safely in various centers with a distancing being maintained. And I think that that can always happen. I don't want to sound political, but if elections can be held, I think exams can also be held, keeping all the guidelines in mind.
Okay, but you know, it's not just the center. The point that is being raised by some of our experts, it's not just the center, it's the travel to the center. In case you're using a public transport, there is an apprehension that, you know, you could, that's where the virus could strike, or the way back. Or do students actually maintain social distance while they're in a queue to get inside the class or to come outside in their excitement? Is there a fear, you know, that, and let me take this to Anjali, Kumari, again, a class 10 student. So when you're taking exam offline, do you follow all the systems of social distancing, masking up, you know, not comparing notes after class or before class? Is there a fear that that is where the virus could strike?
Frankly speaking, when I went to my school for giving offline exams, we were trying our best to do social distancing, but it wasn't possible. It wasn't successful because I see there are teachers who were not taking precautions. They are not even wearing masks. And that's the reason I sometimes feel like it's also a risk to give board exams.
There is a risk, and the question is, if you postpone, how long do you postpone it for, and the domino effect that it has subsequently. But Jane Jahane, I have Pramod Sharma, Vice President of Genesis Global School, joining me on the broadcast. And Pramod Sharma, your thoughts, should exams either be postponed or be called off completely? Maharashtra has taken a decision, Delhi is still considering. What do you think when it comes to welfare of students and, of course, teachers?
There are two board exams. One is for class 10. And for that, there is absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind why they have not been called off as yet. So they should have been called off long back. Now coming to the class 12 board exams, these are extraordinary times, and I think it is not possible for us to take that kind of precautions which the country expects to be taken. So I think even class 12 examination results can be based on, there are so many ways, and I think CBSE is quite competent, and the schools have class 11 results and the class 12 results to some extent. The online classes have taken place. So based on that, the results should be standardized and should be declared.
But how does that, does that impact admission to colleges? Colleges would want a yardstick. Different boards have different yardsticks. Wouldn't it lead to chaos at the time of college admissions? Because engineering and medical colleges have an entrance examination. What about others, sir?
Yes. In any case, as you said yourself, that different state boards have different criteria for judging and for assessment. And so if they have different criteria, they were not standardized in any case. So the CBSE result and the state board results, they were different. So the only additional thing is that the National Testing Agency could organize a standard examination for university admissions, and the students can take that. Or the different universities, some are much in demand, some are not so much in demand. They could have their own online assessment done for college admissions and university admissions. Engineering and medicine, as you said, is not a problem.
Engineering and medicine, will have their entrance examination. So they, and you're saying class 10 board examinations should be done away with. It has been done away with in the past once, and it created no problems. Sumit Aggarwal, a good thought that your previous results will decide whether you want to take science, arts or commerce or other mechanism, because just now, as many argue, as the doctor was telling us, Dr. Malik, that the situation is so grim and youngsters are being impacted, people below the age of 45. In Delhi, the Delhi Chief Minister was just telling us that 65% of those testing positive are below the age of 45. So therefore, either postponement or calling them off completely when it comes to class 10, Asmi?
I think like he should not, you cannot call them off, because some people have really not done well in their pre-boards, because we slacked off, even when we went for offline, we went for our offline exams, we kind of slacked off and we did not maintain the entire social protocol of social distancing, because the cases were at very low numbers at that time. But now, since they're skyrocketing, I think people, students will themselves maintain a distance and will social all the protocols in order to not put their health in jeopardy. So
okay,
I think they should be conducted.
Okay, Palak Dida also joins us on the broadcast, a class 12 student. Palak, is this uncertainty impacting your preparations? Are you going ahead preparing for boards to take them because college admissions in future, or would you rather, because of this spike, have exams postponed or called off completely?
No, sir, I want the board exams to happen, because today or tomorrow we have to give the board exams. This COVID situation is not going to end. Actually, we can only just control this thing, but we cannot fully end this situation. So we have to appear the board exam. Till what extent will we extend the board exams? So it is not possible to more postpone the exams, because then that will affect our session of 2021 and affect the college admissions. So I want that the board exam should happen.
No, but are you not scared of the virus, and while you're traveling to your center or coming back from there, or you think if you mask up, maintain hand hygiene, you will remain safe? Is that, Palak, is that your thought?
Yes, sir. Actually, it is on ourselves how we may follow the social distancing. We should follow the proper protocols, and the CBSE, the centers must follow proper social distancing, and they should have proper safety measures. There should be only one school given at a time, a single center given to a single school, not two schools given the same center. Because by that, the social distancing will be it is never maintained. When we gave our 10th board exams also, so there was no distance, and the students were in very close proximity to each other.
Zubin Malhotra, because careers, education for college, admission in our country, admission overseas, a lot of things will be impacted. Is there merit in what Palak and several youngsters, including Asmi, are saying? Wear a mask, take the examination, remain safe. The board has to ensure all facilities are given. I know easier said than done, but students, at least the ones we are speaking to, majority want to take the examination, Zubin Malhotra.
I know, and on a slightly different side, it's more interesting seeing the youngsters actually wanting to give the exam and not wanting to get out of it, and the others saying postpone. And I completely understand where the students are coming from. They've put in a lot of work. They're working towards a schedule. There's only that much that you can keep studying and maintain an intensity. And then when it gets postponed, things go into a limbo. They don't know when it's going to happen. Then you've got to gear yourself up again. It's not easy. So I completely understand where they're coming from. I just wanted to point out one thing. You can't put it on a board. You can't put it on the center. You can't put it on teachers. it's like what we do even today. Everyone has to take a personal responsibility for their safety, to ensure distancing, to ensure hand hygiene and all of those things. Yes, they can, in some places, the infrastructure where not appropriate needs to be added on, or more centers added, but you can't expect the board to take the responsibility for this.
Okay.
The only issue is that, please understand, the CBSE conducts a pan-India exam.
Yes.
It's not just Delhi, it's not just metros, it's also smaller towns, right? It's not the same levels of infrastructure are just not possible. While some of these students were talking, and one of the students was talking about lack of social distancing during their pre-boards, etc. You can do that in the classrooms, but these students will want to go to a washroom, and things like that. So it is a risk, certainly. Vaccination, of course, is not the answer. People who've even have had 2 doses of vaccines are still contracting the virus. So I don't think that's
with a lesser
something
impact,
that we can can even wait for. It's
in
not
fact,
even
Dr.
something
Malik,
that you can wait for.
Yes, in fact, that's the question for Dr. Malik. If you're still with us, we'll try and reestablish contact with him. Dr.
Yeah,
Malik, you're here. Brilliant. Dr. Malik, youngsters want to take the examination, but could this well be because being at home, being in lockdown, they said enough is enough, we need to go out and take the examination and move on with life? But is that, in your appreciation also, something that's an attitude that everyone needs to develop, that we have to live with this situation and we can protect ourselves best, whether it's hand hygiene or mask or social distancing? This isn't going anywhere. Corona isn't going anywhere, and not in a hurry, sir.
But right now the situation is, right now the momentous and critical issue is that right now cases are increasing. We have to live with Corona. Corona is not going to go anywhere for coming months to go. We have to live with it. But right now, Gaurav, the issue is that we need to be very extremely careful because the cases are increasing. As I've already told, in last 1 month, we have increased by 10 times. It is a huge increase. And imagine in next 1 month, if we again increase by 10 times, it will be unprecedented, unheard of, and it will become a very critical situation, number one. Number two, since I'm a practicing pediatrician, so I meet a lot of children who are appearing for 10th or 12th class. They are in a hurricane of, fear, uncertainty, and kind of insecurity. And they want the answer. And the government should now come up with an answer because all the data are available with us. We know each and everything. So we should come up with an answer for the students. All the more it is important because in case the schools, they need to take offline courses, the preparation also needs to be done for that. Because once the modality is changing, we need to take that precautions also into this thing. As far as the vaccine is concerned, I must tell you one thing. 70% once you get vaccination, I'm giving vaccination at my hospital also, 70% you're not going to get Corona. 30%, even if you get it, you're not going to die of it. So that is the end of it. So vaccine is extremely important. But the only thing is vaccine is not available for the children who are less than 18 years. Last point I will like to say, strategically what we can do is we can segment these students. 10th class students have to go to the 11th class in the same school. So there can be a separate strategy for 10th class students. Maybe they will take offline this thing, or maybe pre-board can be examined and they can be taken into consideration. But as far as the 12th class is concerned, they have to go out of the school and they have to go to variety of places. So there is a spectrum where they will be going, maybe to engineering college, medical college, or maybe abroad.
And I have Ritika Chaudhary, who's
strategy should be different. And
and Ritika Chaudhary is a class 12 student. Ritika, your thoughts? Maharashtra has postponed it. Delhi still undecided. But as a class 12 student, what do you want to do? Take your exams, or you'd rather have them postponed?
Sir, I don't want that exam should be postponed anymore because the class 12th exam is considered to be one of the most important exam among class 12 students, because this class 12th result will decide our future, our career. So they should not be postponed. If they postponed, then the college admission, everything will be postponed, and that will affect our whole 1 year again. So I don't want that. It should be postponed, and it should not postpone because it will affect our career as well as our whole 1 year will be wasted.
So you want to take the exam and you want to live with it, or before I bring in Soumya, Chandra and other parents into this conversation, Dr. Malik, is it possible to predict as of now, when will this peak and when will the situation start improving? Can we postpone the exams till then, or it's not just possible to predict anymore?
It is practically, Gaurav, it is an unpredictable illness. All the predictions in past have gone false. But right now, as a professional, I can tell you the peak has not come, because every day we are seeing an upsurge. Today, 1.69 cases, yesterday 1.46 cases, day before yesterday 1.31 cases, day before that 1.26 cases. So peak has not yet arrived. And we are already at the peakest level. You know, last time also when the peak came, the maximum number of cases, what we have reported on 16 September 2020, was only 98,000. But now we are sitting at almost double the numbers, and the peak has not arrived. So the situation definitely is critical. And
last year there was a lockdown. This year there is no lockdown.
This situation.
Absolutely. And this year people just don't seem to be realizing, unfortunately, how severe this crisis is. Look at the crowds at Kumbh. Look at the crowds at marketplaces or elsewhere. And Soumya Chandra, as a parent, you've heard majority of students here who want to take the examination, perhaps because they do not want to live with the uncertainty. The board says...
That's totally legit, yeah.
Yeah, the board says they've taken all SOPs. They've put SOPs in place. They've got their systems in place, and they will be able to conduct an examination. Yeah. The central board is saying that. Is this just a parent's fear? But what's the alternative when it comes to class 12 students, ma'am?
Yes, actually, there's no alternative for the class 12 student. This is such a sad situation, you know, because for the class 12, since the moment they get into 11, they look forward to their board exams, you know. Now the board exams has arrived. This is like a most crucial time in any student's life. My daughter is now college, you know. I have gone through what class 12 student goes through.
Yes.
So I think they should go through a offline exam, you know. The exam should not be postponed. But of course, with all the SOPs followed and everything, because one infection can ruin the entire thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to understand.
Absolutely.
And as far as the class 10th exam, it is not as important as class 12, you know, because there we can consider the pre-board marks, and because the child is actually not prepared to go to the classroom and give the exams after sitting 1.5 years in the house.
Oh, absolutely. And, because Mr. Pramod Sharma, as far as class 10 students are concerned, you've seen as an academic, you've seen students through the year. So you know whether he or she has the aptitude for science, arts or commerce. So that is easier to decide even without the board. But for 12th, is there an alternative? They will have to take the exam following, COVID appropriate behavior.
I don't see why is it necessary to postpone or to hold this examination. As far as engineering and medicine, you've already said that there are entrance examinations in place for those. As far as university and college admissions, I think the minister needs to decide that this is not the right time to hold this examination. These are unprecedented times, totally. And once the decision is made that the class 10 exam will not take place, once the class 12 exam will not take place, the modalities will be found once the decision is taken. Now, the elections are going on. The Shahi Snan is today and day after tomorrow. Millions of people are gathering together. We are having very knee-jerk reaction to the situations. Okay. I think more decisive action is required. The education minister should call off the 2 examinations, and then we people will sit together to say how the college and university admissions will take place and how the universities will tackle the situation.
Fair enough. I will let that be the last word on this part of the show. We will track this story closely because several political leaders, you've had Priyanka Gandhi Vadra of the Congress party, right to the HRD minister, saying examinations need to be called off at this stage because of the unprecedented spike, and lives of children, lives of teachers, everything's at stake. We've had a large number of students join us on the broadcast. We will continue this conversation with the students today and in the days to come. But I need to slip into a quick break. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me. News for the hearing impaired coming up on the other side of a short break.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.